Good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. Hope you all got a good night's sleep. Hope you're feeling rested. If not, naps. They're invented for a reason. And so is Nintendo news. It's invented so I can tell you all about it. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. Make sure to hit that like button if you enjoy the show. It helps out a lot. And let me know what you're thinking about in the comments down below, even if it's pancakes. All right, today we want to talk about The Legend of Zelda. We want to talk about Nintendo Switch Online, and we want to talk about a new secret big remaster of a major Nintendo game that is seeming very mysterious. So we'll kick it off with Zelda. I'm still sore from Nintendo not properly honoring the 35th anniversary. Today is the 30th anniversary of Zelda: A Link to the Past, many people's favorite Zelda of all time. Mine personally is Ocarina of Time, just because of when I played it, how old I was. My mom got me the gold cartridge for Christmas and I felt like the coolest kid on the block. Anyways, Link to the Past is a fantastic game. It's the 30th anniversary. Nintendo didn't do nothing really for the 35th anniversary besides that Game & Watch that I feel is superfluous. And then the 30th anniversary of possibly the best game in the series, maybe one of the most perfect games ever, nothing. We don't even get Breath of the Wild 2 this year. So if you thought that last year's 35th celebration was shifted to 2022, it's not. In fact, we don't even know if there's going to be a Zelda release this year at all. And whereas Mario got a wonderful celebration that properly honored the franchise, led into a theme park and a movie, Zelda just gets barely anything. Skyward Sword HD and the Game & Watch. Come on, man. I feel like Link deserves better, and I know Breath of the Wild 2 will be brilliant, but this is like big time. I don't know how much more big time it gets than The Legend of Zelda for video games, so why, Nintendo, didn't you do more? Maybe you can for 40. 5 more years and we'll see if they can come through. Now, coming through in 2022 is a brand new game to Switch. And man, oh man, are we in need of new games. I feel like it's just watching paint dry right now. In terms of the video game space, like what's the next big release? Yeah, we got Switch Sports and yeah, we got Strikers, but like in general, there's really nothing dated on the horizon. We need announcements soon, but here's one. Paper Cut Mansion, which is a brilliant fusion of Luigi's Mansion and Paper Mario, except without Mario or Luigi. It's like paper-style graphics in a roguelite horror experience with detective work and quests and puzzles. It actually looks pretty darn nifty, and it's coming from Thunderful and Lizard Studio. I really like Thunderful as a publisher. I think they're rising the ranks, maybe not quite where Devolver Digital is, but they're coming close in terms of the games that they choose to put their might behind, and this one looks really nifty. There's no set date, but it is coming to Switch, and it looks like the perfect fit for the platform. I'm really excited to see if this one can end up being a nice sleeper hit. We have Nobody Saves the World, Bugsnax, the indie scene is about to get really big on Switch once again, and Paper Cut Mansion, brilliant name, painful title. I really hope this one pans out. Let me know in the comments down below if this amalgamation of horror and Luigi's Mansion and Paper Mario and roguelite action seems like something you could cut into. Next, Nintendo Switch Online is making a gamer consumer friendly change. They're doing something that's in our best interest. I feel like they've been on that right track for a while now, bringing regular N64 releases and upgrading their icon assortment, but this one is quite nice, and actually it was pressured by the Competition and Markets Authority. They launched an investigation into a bunch of different services where they were forcing auto renewal, and Switch Online is a subscription that once you sign up, auto renewal is automatically on. Yeah, I don't even know if you knew that. I didn't know that until I got billed for the next year. And like, I didn't care because of course I was gonna keep Nintendo Switch Online, but it's not really the best move. It's not really consumer friendly. And so now Nintendo has agreed to change that. So Switch Online subscriptions will start with no auto renewal, and you would have to go in and specifically click auto renewal if you want it to recurrently charge you year after year. It sounds like Sony and PlayStation Plus are doing the same thing, and while this is a small change, again, it's a good one, and it's not trying to be all sneaky and just get your money without you knowing about it. You have to consciously pick to keep Switch Online, which I know most of you would because it's not that expensive, but just in terms of the way things work, I'm glad that there was attention to this, and I'm glad that Nintendo is doing the right thing. I think everybody is going to have a different right answer for our big story of the day. So make sure to get your typing fingers ready and fill me in on how you feel about this. Nintendo has not been a company that does a lot of remasters, a lot of remakes, right? They will port stuff like, yo, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, come on down from the Wii U. And like, oh, Wind Waker, come on down from the GameCube to the Wii U. But they don't really do a whole lot. They're not in the business of taking an old game and making it fresh with fantastic visuals and modern technology and new gameplay adjustments, but they seem like they're about to do it, maybe more than once. We have this new Bandai Namco story where they are hiring for a remastered 3D action game for Nintendo. All right, they're hiring for multiple positions, including a visual artist for a 3D action game project on a Nintendo contract. And it says you will be required to perform HD remastering of 3D backgrounds. And so the internet is abuzz with what game is this? I've got some really good intel as well as some more details on what exactly Bandai Namco is up to. So here we go. First blush, it was like, oh, Metroid Prime, right? Because everybody's been talking about this rumored Metroid Prime remaster, and that's something that Nintendo would be really proud of and want to make look all pretty again. But everything I've heard, including rumors we've reported on the show, indicate that that remaster is being done by Retro and Nintendo, right? The makers of Metroid Prime 4, the makers of Metroid Prime, and now they're making Metroid Prime 1 feel fresh again with Nintendo. So if that game is to be, it seems like it'll be those two working together as opposed to the Bamco Nintendo partnership detailed here. So then we go a little bit further and we say, what could they be working on? Is it something new in the Zelda franchise? Is it something in the Star Fox franchise, since we haven't seen his fuzzy face on Nintendo Switch? But everyone seems to think and wish that this is Kid Icarus Uprising. Now personally, I gotta be honest with you, I don't have the same love for Kid Icarus Uprising on the 3DS that everyone else seems to have, but it would be cool to get a more niche character on the platform in a big way. Now it's not clear if this is going to be just a straight up better graphics version of an already existing game, or if it's gonna be remastering an old game to like redo it, spin it off. There's so many options and ways that they could go, but the big two that people are focusing on are Kid Icarus and Star Fox. And between those two, which would you rather have? Like Kid Icarus from 3DS being up-res and improved and remade for Switch, because they definitely have to redo the controls and find a way to make it fit better on this platform, or something like Star Fox, Star Fox Assault, Star Fox Adventure. I really liked that game. Actually, I returned that game to GameStop because I thought my copy was broken, but probably I was just bad back then. Anyhow, there's actually more information that I'm not seeing being reported as much as the main story, which is that in the job description, it talks about a deformed art style. Now, this is being translated from Japanese to English, so we're going to kind of assume that deformed is meaning chibi or more cartoony. And that instantly separates a whole lot. Because if this was something like Metroid Prime, they definitely describe that as realistic art style, not deformed or chibi art style. So instantly my mind goes to like, oh my gosh, are they working on Wind Waker? Are they working on Link to the Past remastered? Are they working on Oracle of Ages and Seasons? But typically Grezzo does that work. Grezzo is the studio that worked on Link's Awakening for Switch, which I think was a fantastic job, and so I'd imagine Nintendo would just stick with them. So what other Nintendo games have more of a chibi or deformed or cartoony style? Does Kid Icarus fit into that vein? Does Star Fox fit into that vein? And I guess it's kind of open to interpretation, but to me it seems like maybe we're not even on the right track at all. What Nintendo games do you know that have more of that silly, fun art style that you think Bandai Namco and Nintendo would be remastering? I'll also remind you that it says it's a 3D action game, so we gotta stay within that genre. Now, Bamco worked on Mario Baseball back in the day. Would they quantify that as 3D action? I guess there's a lot more action in Mario sports titles than in normal sports titles, but you feel like they would just call that a sports title at that point. I've also seen Chibi Robo tossed around as sort of a cult classic fan favorite game that has not gotten a lot of love or any love in a very long time. And it's important to note that Bandai did work on Chibi Robo with Skip Limited, so that is definitely a possibility. So what is it? I would lean towards Kid Icarus Uprising because it seems like that's where most of the momentum is, but I also want to let you know that 3 years ago, Sakurai himself said that he did not think it would be possible to get Kid Icarus Uprising on Switch. So that's like the main man saying negative. Then I don't know what it could be. I don't believe it's Metroid Prime. I feel like Zelda would be with Grezzo. And if it's not Kid Icarus, is it Star Fox? Or is it something we're not guessing at all? Help me out here. What game is Bandai Namco remastering a 3D action title with deformed art for Nintendo? What are they working on? Nonetheless, I think it's really interesting to see Nintendo start to take on remakes and remasters. If Metroid Prime 1 is really, really cool and they do end up releasing that, man, there's a lot of options for games Nintendo could bring into a better era. Especially if they do eventually go to that 4K Switch Pro console. Wouldn't you love to see some of your classic childhood favorites done up in 4K? I mean, that's a whole litany of games, a whole list that Nintendo could tap into in slow months or in times where they're in between big titles. Because ports are one thing, but remasters, they kind of feel on a bigger, better scale, a more important level. Would you like to see Nintendo dive into this realm? Because it seems like they're about to jump in. I shall keep you posted on anything I find out and hopefully learn something soon. Hopefully something happens. Indie World, a freaking announcement, a new date for Advance Wars, I don't know. Nintendo, wake up. You've been sleeping. But y'all ain't sleeping on Breath of the Wild 2, and neither am I. I will keep my eyes glued to that title till the day it drops. And last night's poll was all about Breath of the Wild 2. When it drops in 2023, where do you hope to play it? On your current Switch? Or on a fancy new Switch with better graphics? Now, 64% of you said you just want to play it on your OG Switch. No need to go spend a bunch of money. The Switch is fine. Breath of the Wild 1 looked great, played great. Let's do the sequel on the same platform. But 36%, including myself, would like to play it with more. I mean, if Nintendo can push this further and make Breath of the Wild 2 even bigger, even better, look even more amazing, then I'm kind of all for it. It would suck to have to get a new system, but the game will be playable on both, I'm sure of it, and so is everybody else, so there wouldn't be a requirement, it would just be like a nice option. If you're really into it and want to see where Nintendo can take graphics in the next couple of years, that's something you could do, and I'd rather have that option. I'd like to see Breath of the Wild 2 be as awesome as it could be. And I know that you guys will continue to be as awesome as you can be. Stay in there. Hang tough. The weekend is coming, and so is another episode of Good Morning Mario. Until that time, thanks so much for watching, everybody. I love you a lot. I appreciate you even more. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay positive, stay happy out there. Love you lots. SwitchForce out.